fast-paced takeaway culture goes hand in hand with masses of food packaging, adding to our growing waste problem. This cafe switched to compostable packaging years ago.
It's way more sustainable. Rather than using plastic packaging, which obviously has its impact on environmental pollution, we've made the switch to compostable packaging.
Goes back into the earth, goes back into the soil.
What's better for the environment, for our kids, for our future?
I never use single-use plastic, so it makes a difference.
Packaging like this is meant to be thrown in green bins along with our food and garden waste so it can be turned into compost. But the reality is quite different. That packaging isn't accepted at most composting facilities around the country.
Coffee up? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Gail Sloan represents all the industries that deal with waste and recycling, and she has big concerns about compostable packaging.
Good idea in theory, but in practice, we don't have the system for them at scale, and there are issues with some of the materials that they contain.
In New South Wales, compostable packaging was banned from green bins last year after revelations it contained harmful chemicals such as PFAS. And so for now, all compostable packaging in this cafe in Bondi is going to landfill.
When we've looked at the breakdown products of a number of items that claim compostability in their branding, we've found over 18,000 chemicals to be present, and some of those are chemicals of significant concern.
That ban sent shockwaves through the waste industry.
What it's done is highlight the need for this to be managed well, because it's a product that we want to make safely and put back on land. And we've seen the other states start to come into line with that. And it's based on science and evidence.
Kembla Grange on the New South Wales south coast is one facility that takes the contents of green bins. They've been turning it into garden compost for the past decade.
We receive 40,000 tonnes per annum of food and garden material from the community in this area.
Charlie Emery, who runs this business, says before the ban, this facility was inundated with packaging that was advertised as compostable, but he couldn't compost because it didn't actually meet industry standards. With that also came a lot of non-compostable plastics.
We were actually starting to back away from some of our commercial collections of food waste because the packaging was becoming impossible to discern between certified compostable and not. And it was causing a problem with our compost, where we were seeing microplastics starting to get elevated in our compost.
Today's load is much less problematic, but not perfect. It looks like it's mostly food waste in compostable bin liners, which are the only exception under the ban. Lucky save here. This compostable bag is hiding something: an aluminium can and a cup, likely plastic. And even the bin liners are hard to differentiate.
We're seeing multiple colours come through, which makes it harder for us to understand what's compostable and what's not.
There is a certification system in place, but it's voluntary. These labels prove a product is actually compostable, but are still used on products that are banned from bins. Cardia Bioplastics produces compostable bin liners.
All our products are certified. It's a very expensive process. It's a very time-consuming process to get certification. Slightly different colour. We understand our colleagues running the composting facilities are under a lot of pressure because there is such a large growth in waste diversion and food waste diversion. But compostable products is the solution. It actually replaces plastic.
It takes 21 days for food and garden waste to break down at Kembla Grange. Treated with heat and moisture, it sits in this enclosed environment and turns into nutrient-rich compost. The last thing that anyone wants to see here is PFAS, or plastic.
Huge risk. We've spent years developing high-quality compost that the community can use in multiple applications on our sports fields, in our gardens, in intensive agriculture, extensive agriculture. We don't want plastic moving out of our facility.
Biopack has been manufacturing compostable packaging for almost 20 years.
We've tried to convert people from a fossil-based solution to a plant-based solution. It's either made from fibre, as you see over here, or it's made from paper, again, with a compostable lining.
Founder and CEO Gary Smith sees compostable packaging as the best way to deal with our growing waste problem.
We've diverted more than 5,000 tonnes of our packaging and food waste to composters over the last couple of years. That's 6,000 wheelie bins that we've taken successfully to composters, and composters have produced soil food from our waste.
The company has been redesigning some of its packaging for the past year and a half after they discovered it contained PFAS.
We discovered PFAS in a very small portion of what we do, and it's a small additive to some of our sugarcane products that repels grease. And so it has been difficult. We want to make sure that the product works. The last thing we want is consumers taking a product and a little bit of salad dressing seeping through the bottom of the base and dropping on their laps. So yeah, it's been challenging.
Industry's now accepted that PFAS needs to be phased out. But equally critical is that we don't replace PFAS with some other chemical that is going to create a toxic legacy in the future.
I can't pretend this isn't a complex area to regulate, but we have to get it right.
The federal government has committed to regulating the packaging industry by 2025, including banning harmful chemicals from compostable packaging.
Well, this is one of the great challenges we have as a federation. We've got 3 levels of government that are all involved in rubbish collection and recycling.
The New South Wales EPA says the state is leading the way by banning compostable packaging from green bins. Other states haven't gone that far, and South Australia accepts the packaging, as do some councils in Tasmania.
We need a nationally consistent approach. We need to make sure as we build more food and organic waste collection facilities that we have some consistency about what can go into those facilities.
In the meantime, the exploding compostable packaging industry is making tons of packaging that's just going to landfill.
It is a problem. We don't want anything to go to landfill. You're wasting a resource.
I think it's a lot of goodwill, but we've ended up in a position that is potentially not the best one for the environment.
Where we are using single-use items, we need to find the ones that have the lowest impact on the environment through their life cycle. In many cases, that'll be compostable materials, but not in every case.